Hello everyone, welcome to MMA Podcast 2025 series. I am Amit Thakur, Managing Partner with Waymaker at WPP Media. Today, we're going to discuss something interesting that impacts all of us, right? As we live our daily lives, what's most important for us is our financials, right? And how each one of us at different stage of life is actually going through a journey to manage our financials to make sure that our future is more secure. And when we talk about securing future, life insurance becomes one of the important topics, right? And to understand a little more on this industry and the entire, services that the banking industry has to offer to our consumers, I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome Wooth and Chuk, an industry expert with banking services and insurance. Welcome, Chuk.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me today. So I believe that when you hear about life insurance, it would not be a sexy topic, but I hope that I can bring you some interesting stories about the life insurance industry and how the marketers in this industry are trying to move forward together with the industry to support the life of the people.
Brilliant, yeah. And I really like what you said, Chuk, that this is not a sexy topic, but I think it's really, really important, right? For everybody to understand, because money is very important to everybody, and therefore how we manage, how we secure the future, and life insurance plays an important role. So let's, before we get into our discussion, it'd be great for our viewers and audience to understand a little more about your journey and how has it been for you in Vietnam with this industry specifically.
Yeah, talking about my career development and the journey. So I have been in communication and marketing for more than 15 years. And I have been jumping around different industries. I started with the agency industries, now working for different creative agencies. And then I moved to an FMCG and then to the life insurance in the last 6 years. So the reason why the people ask me why FMCG to life insurance, that would be the big gap. Something very young, energetic, creative, just something that's really hard to understand and it's so intangible.
Correct.
Yeah,
and
but
serious
yes.
in a way, right?
Yeah, we cannot see it. And people don't want to use it.
Correct.
People need it, but people don't really want to use it. But it comes from my belief. I have a very strong belief in two things, the education and the healthcare. I have the strong belief in the quality of life of the people. So that's the one drove me to the industry, because I believe, as you mentioned from the beginning, that we protect the life of the people. It goes beyond the finance. It has the health and the well-being and everything. So that's the beauty of the life insurance. And I think that all of the marketers in this industry really, really want to bring that beauty out to the people out there.
That's quite inspiring, right?
Yes.
Journey and the shift that you had from FMCG to this life insurance industry. And some of the things that, to build onto your point, that I've also seen and I've been picking up on the way, having spent, over 14 years in the region between Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam. Also, some of the common factors, right? That all of these markets are going on a similar trend, right? And consumers in the last decade or so have become even more cautious of how they're spending money, or rather how they're saving money, right? And that also means making sure that how they secure their future through life insurance. And hence, coming back to specific to Vietnam and to your experience, Chuk, how have you seen 2025 as a year, and more recently in the last couple of years, the trend for consumer shift, and more importantly from the wider industry of banking and banking services and then to insurance?
Yeah. I have to say that life insurance in Vietnam, not really in 2025, but in the last 3 years, have been going on a lot of turbulence and interesting moments. And also, how to say, like some moments and some experience are not so comfortable, but that's a big shift for the whole industry. Thanks to the COVID, so that people can understand more about the role of the health and the quality of life.
Good.
And that's led to the booming of the industry of the life insurance and the health insurance. But right after that, a lot of scandal about the mis-selling and how the products and the benefits of the solutions were not really clearly explained to the customer. So you know that the nature of the industry, that is so challenging for people to really understand the solutions.
Good.
Now coming together with the skeptical perception and the doubt, and that will be, the double burdens for the industry.
Okay.
And that's the reason why in the last 3 years, and especially in 2025, a lot of companies right now are reinventing themselves to stay relevant to the customer.
Okay.
To rebuild the credibility, not through what the brands are talking, but the brand have to live with the talk. We have the quote is that we walk the talk and we talk the walk.
Yeah.
And this is what we are observing right now in the industry. Yes.
And so interesting point, right? That I think all of us can imagine the fact that COVID must have been this turning point for this industry, right? People take their own life and therefore what future uncertainty are and try to, bring in some bit of stability and security through life insurance. And therefore, from the lens of consumers and how COVID changed the thinking, how do you see that impacting as a journey from the industry itself? And what changes have you recently observed from a business and industry perspective?
Coming back, everything starts with the consumers. So the customer or the consumer, they used to think of the life insurance is just like a financial solution. But the nature of the life insurance and the health insurance is about the health.
Good.
So that the strong shift of customer perception is, but they're more for the health. So life is precious, health is the first. So that you can see that, the whole value chains of the industry are moving to the simpler, easy to understand products, more protection-led solutions.
Okay.
And they have to come back to the core of the nature of the industry is that life insurance and insurance is more about the protection. Protection first. And, investments or the further values in terms of the financial solutions that will come later.
Okay. So interesting, right? And that's what sort of pivots even from a media lens when we make some of these observations and when we work back home with some of our clients from the banking and banking services, even insurance for that matter, right? That this whole shift where consumers must understand the fact that beyond the financials of it only, and make it part of their life, right? And that's more of a mindset shift and a lifestyle shift that you expect, and maybe brands are actually trying to drive that as a behavior from consumers.
Exactly. So that's the role of the marketers and the brands in the life insurance is going beyond the communications and going beyond telling the story. The brand person is actually, being in the driver team.
Oh.
So we are the driver team because we need to drive the transformation. We need to drive the whole operations, starting with the customer insight and the journey, because we need to design the proposition.
Good.
And coming with the proposition will become the key messages and how we package the solutions in the very easy, simple way to understand and convenient to the customer.
To understand. And
Yes.
therefore, do you see any shift specifically from a communication lens, the way...
Digital and AI, that would be the things. So digital, of course, for example, all of the companies right now in the market, we all have the big apps.
Correct.
That the platform
Okay.
for the policy management and for the healthcare services. interaction. And even some of the bank right now in the market, they are entering the life insurance industry, and that would be the one-stop shop for financial solutions for the customer. From you're growing your property, you're growing your asset, and you keep growing and you keep protecting, keep growing, keep protecting. So that would be the
cycle.
The cycle, right? Like the hierarchy of the Maslow, that when you grow and you have more something and you want to protect more.
Brilliant.
Yes.
And if you were to shift the needle a bit and say that some of these things are equally important from a larger governance agenda, right? We want to make sure that as a country, people are protected, people are knowledgeable about how to secure their lives and finances, right? How do you see, any support or guidelines or the laws being put on from a government standpoint? Are there any new things that we are putting as policies to support consumer adopters?
I'm confident to say that life insurance or insurance industry is one of the industries working very closely with the government. We have to operate under the very strict governance.
Okay.
Yes. The penetration of life insurance in Vietnam is right now around 10 to 11% only. And based on the national agenda, we have to increase it to 15 to 18% in the next 5 years. So that the whole industry are working very closely with the Ministry of Finance and Vietnamese government to first thing, just simplify the solutions to get people really and truly understand their rights and their benefits that they can have. The second thing is that how we renovate the industry with the data, with the AI. And develop the new solutions. The new solution can come from the traditional life insurance or come from the embedded digital, simple to buy and simple to access. On the app, like a payment wallet, something like that.
In fact, that to build onto that point of digitization of the services and simplicity for consumers, we also know that recently government also announced the steady health services in Vietnam, right, which will be helping consumers to actually not requiring physically to visit a doctor, but actually able to consult a doctor over a phone, over a call. And then some of these initiatives, do you think will help?
You just mentioned a really interesting point, and actually that's you can observe that is happening across the industry that we call the value-added service. So we look at life insurance, it's not like something at the end of the journey, but the whole journey, and we have to find a way to stay relevant, to stay in the daily life of the customer. It just looks like the healthcare journey.
Correct.
So for the healthcare journey, that we have preventive healthcare, we have the treatment, we have the post-care.
Okay.
So because life insurance is going beyond protecting your financial stability, but also your well-being and quality of life, so that we find the opportunity to offer more to the customer during the whole journey of preventive care, treatment, and post-care. So for example, like telemedicine, like connect with the doctors, having, for example, free drug delivery if you need to buy some medicines from the doctor, and it can be integrated into the whole claim journeys. And that's how we bundle the solutions.
Great. So it's interesting, right, that you're actually expanding the horizon of not just talking about singularly about one particular aspect of insurance, but giving a perspective, an opportunity even to consumer to look at it from a holistic way, right? And how it fits well as part of their daily life and the future that they plan for themselves.
Because the industry used to talk about the solutions. So we talk about the product, for example, a universal life or the investment-linked product. But right now, what we are talking about is the customer value propositions. So that we bundle everything and surrounding one term, customer value proposition, and we leverage our partners in the whole ecosystem. So the partnership is also one of the key words of the industry that you can observe right now.
Correct.
Yes.
And shifting our needle to even therefore seeing that how communication has evolved, right? And there's an interesting trend that we also saw recently working with some of our clients where from past few years where insurance was seen as a serious need and therefore some element of fear in the comms, right? And as you rightly mentioned, Chuk, that the industry and the brands are actively working to make it more like a lifestyle decision, right? And therefore, the communication also moving in that direction, right? You will have nuances of showing that what in a daily life could be impacted. For example, if there is no if there is no insurance being taken.
That would be the opportunity and the challenge at the same time.
Okay.
Because, with the landscape of the digital development right now, people don't really pay good attention to the long period of the content anymore.
Correct.
So we have to find a way to make something really hard to understand to something easy to understand and balancing between the functional and the emotional bonding. Digital platforms, TikTok, Zalo, Viber, Facebook, Google, AI have to be the must, of course.
Sure.
But we see it's just like the touch point and the tools. The core thing is that how we design the real values and benefits to the customer and how we package the message. So that's what we have to solve. I don't say it's easy. Sometimes that we know the way, but we have not figured out the most effective solution yet. We have to be honest, right?
And that's the journey of evolution, right? That's how you keep figuring out and evolving. So great. I think that gives us a good holistic sense of how things have transpired in recent years, right? As you mentioned, and about the shift and the challenges that we need to manage of the consumers, as well as the things that you recently observed on the challenges that happen in the industry for insurance recently, and therefore brands actively trying to now make a better brand image, trying to appeal to consumers to go with this decision.
Yeah, and one thing I would love to add is that the co-creation content. Yeah, co-creation content, I think this is so common in the marketing industry, right? We work with the KOL, we work with the KOC, but the co-creation content in life insurance is that how we work with our partner. We work with our partner to design the solutions, and we work with our partner to design the brand communications together. This in the model of brand, we have like building, leveraging the brand, right? So this is more for the leveraging the brand. It's the co-brand campaigns and activities. So that in our industry, that we call it a partnership thing.
Perfect. Great. So wonderful understanding from you of how 2025 transpired and the recent years and developments that happened in this industry. Let's leap forward into 2026, Chuk. And what I would want to understand for our audiences is, what do you see what will matter to this industry generally in a broader sense, from banking to insurance, from a consumer shift point of view, from marketing, media point of view?
From the point of view of the industry people working inside the industry and from the customer also, we can say that 2025 is the year of transformation.
Okay.
And we are planning to move to 2026, and we call it the year of elevation. So what is elevation, right? So from the point of view of the people inside, like us, the marketers, the people, the experts working in the life insurance industry, the elevation is how we elevate the experience with life insurance for the customer. So the experience coming from the beginning, from the zero to hero, from how they search for the information, how they interact with our, for example, digital content, how to engage with our advisor, how to be consulted with easy to understand, simplified protection solutions, and how to access more value to serve for the daily life. And from the point of view of the customer, they will see that how they can be engaging more with the company, how they can have one companion with them along the journey. So that's also the role of the advisors. Because the interesting things for life insurance is that we move forward with AI and data, but because we have life in the word life insurance, it's more about the human centricity. So we do everything to the customer, and we have to come back with our advisor also. That's the interesting touch point.
Yes. So, as I hear you, you're talking about few things, right? As 2026 will evolve into from the way you or from the way brands start engaging with the customers, and you have multiple touch points, right? Not just in media or marketing, but you also have these advisors who will reach out on your behalf. Reaching out to consumers. So it's equally important that they represent your brand well, right? To carry forward the message that you want to put it. From the lens of this, also stepping forward when you were sharing about 2025 and recent year, from the whole point of expansion as a service to consumers, right?
Yes.
And as a bouquet of services. So consumers are actually utilizing this whole financials plus life insurance holistically.
Yes.
How do you think that is going to evolve and change?
We approach that with the lens of the golden triangle. So the first one is the product. We have to make it more simple. But the second layer is the value-added service. We have to bring more value-added service. Something that we have to remove, to eliminate, but for something that we have to add more.
Okay.
And the value-added service, like I shared, we play around wealth, health, and well-being. And with the focus on the health. Because Vietnamese populations are being aged.
Got it.
So by 2050, so the percentage of the people above 60 will be around 25%. So the people have to look forward to see that how they can secure their living quality. So that's the reason why the value-added service, like the healthcare, preventive treatment, post-care, how do we offer them like the well-being solutions, like the mental health, and the yoga, exercise, everything like that will be come along with the solutions. And the final layer in the golden triangle is the journey, and this is also the point of the advisors and the technology touch point that you just mentioned.
Great. Interesting. You mentioned quite a few things, and therefore the lifestyle matters and how aging population is going to impact the decision that consumers make today.
With this understanding, so what are your advices? Like an expert in the brand and the media and marketing for the people in the life insurance industry like me?
So I think you already have given a lot of cues, Chop, to your conversation, right? Because whatever that we do in media and communication has to start from what is the change in consumer, right, thinking. And you mentioned quite a few things in terms of saying it has to become a lifestyle, part of lifestyle, right? And the fact that you want to make it part of their life, you're also expanding the bouquet of services that you're giving. And that bouquet of services, coupled with the kind of message that you want to put, is giving you a holistic brand approach to the consumers. And media can play an important role in terms of deciding the right platform mix, deciding what kind of content at what life stage do you want to communicate with to the audience, right? You could have a combination of serious message. You could have some education done because we are still at 10% penetration for the industry, right? So huge room of growth. And where will this growth come from different pockets in the country? And media can therefore help brands reach out to these different audiences spread across the nation based on each brand's or company's target, right? If somebody wants to target affluent audiences versus the mass mass audience in Vietnam. Right?
I love what you just shared, and may I have another question for you? So, like I shared before, that we have the big challenge of how to balance between how condensed our message is. There's a lot of things for people to really truly absorb and understand the message. and how we recalibrate and balance those kind of the content with like the digital platforms. For example, the TikTok and the Zalo, like the social commerce, with a very short period of time and more energetic platforms to really educate about something that's not sexy.
True. So you bang on, right? And just in the other podcast that I have as part of the series, I was in interaction with Chum from TikTok, and we did touch upon some of these points, right? That the same platform or the format such as live stream that you're talking about also can actually be leveraged in multiple ways, right? And that goes a lot to how brands want to engage with their audiences. A lot of times, it's not only about entertainment. There is information, technical information for gadgets. There are serious information, such as industries as life insurance or banking or financial, which people are actually interested in. So once the brand define the objective that they want to communicate the message, the tone and manner and the right collaboration, which you also spoke about with partners, influencers, and KOLs, can be brought on the table. And then the whole media journey, right, where you want to reach out to your consumers. So the right objective coupled with the choices that we make for the influence and KOLs, and then the right choice of platforms to make sure that the message reaches the audience. I think those are the strengths that media can build on, especially with the advent of AI. Scaling the messaging and customizing it for audience is something that can be done today.
Yes.
Great. So that brings us towards the end of this. But before we sign off, I would really want you to share something that our audience can take up for future from the lens of saying what is it that they should look for personally when they want to make a decision for insurance or in general availing any of the brand services.
I think that I would summarize it in the short keywords.
Sure.
The first thing is not cliche, but you have to come back to the customer need. So you have to understand the customer journey, and because their behavior and their lifestyles will be changing every day. So we have to define the whole journey, looking at how we design the solutions for the business and how we design the campaigns, not at a certain stage, but the whole journey of the customer. That leads to the second keyword, the data and the AI. That how we leverage the data and the AI, not to make something fancy for the marketing, but it has to be embedded into the business. For example, for life insurance, we have data and AI for underwriting and for designing the solutions. And then we bring it up to the customer and we have data and AI, for example, for the media journey and how we design the creative assets for the customer.
Sure.
And the final keyword is just from my personal point of view, that to stay healthy and stay positive. So that will be the keyword for 2026.
Awesome. I think that's a wonderful way to wrap up this conversation. It was absolutely wonderful, Chuk, conversing with you on this important topic of insurance and banking services. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Thanh Trúc. Welcome to MMA Podcast Series.